This just in, guys, more than a dozen of Trump's incoming officials have been facing very alarming bomb threats and swatting incidents over the last few days. But seriously, guys, you just can't make this stuff up. Here's the news.
Sources tell Fox News that nearly a dozen of President-elect Trump's new administration picks have been threatened, at least since Tuesday night. And we now know the identities of at least 5 of those appointees and nominees that have received those threats. We begin with Trump's pick for CIA Director John Ratcliffe, then his nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Brooke Rollins, his pick for Agriculture Secretary, and his nominee for the Environmental Protection Agency, Lee Zeldin, who says a pipe bomb threat was sent to his family with a pro-Palestinian themed message, and his pick for United Nations Ambassador Elise Stefanik. Stefanik is Trump's nominee, like I said, to be at the UN. Her office says a bomb threat was made against Stefanik and her family. New York State, County, and U.S. Capitol Police responded immediately, and everyone is okay. But in a statement, her office said, quote, "This morning, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, her husband, and their 3-year-old son were driving home to Saratoga County from Washington for Thanksgiving when they were informed of a bomb threat to their residence." The Trump transition team says that there were nearly a dozen people that were targeted beginning on Tuesday night with, quote, "violent, un-American threats to their lives and those who live with them." The threats range from bomb threats to swatting, which is making prank calls to send a heavy police presence to someone's home.
You know, this really just makes me wonder. So the DOJ can find anyone who used a cell phone within 3 miles of January 6th, but they couldn't locate the pipe bomber from J6 and whoever is threatening Trump's picks? Yeah, I mean, I get it. Put this together with the idea from Democratic legislator Liz Krueger of them seceding from the U.S. and joining Canada. It's definitely starting to get clearer what Democrats mean when they say a peaceful transition of power. Here, watch this.
One New York State senator is even floating the idea of having New York withhold federal taxes and then the Empire State seceding to join Canada. Senior correspondent Eric Shawn is live with more. There's about as much chance of that as a pink unicorn leading the Thanksgiving Day parade tomorrow.
Hey, hello, John. Good morning. Well, it's a defiant plan against President-elect Trump's mass deportation plan. Succeed and join our neighbor to the north. That is exactly what Manhattan Liberal Democrat State Senator Liz Krueger is proposing, that the Empire State and fellow blue northeastern states leave the U.S. and join Canada to protest Trump's plan. She said this back in September before the election, quote, "Instead of us all trying to illegally cross the border at night without them noticing, which is pretty hard because there's lots of us, that they should instead agree to let us be the Southeast province, a new province of Canada. New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont would combine and be a great new province as the Southeast province of Canada. Basically, everybody in these states are progressive Democrats who would fit in pretty well with the political philosophy of at least most of the Canadian elected officials." Well, in a new interview with Politico, State Senator Krueger, who chairs the powerful State Senate Finance Committee, also says that her state and the others should stop sending tax money to the federal government as part of their protest. New York State's controller says that the Empire State sends more than $361 billion a year, or provides 6.5% of the whole federal budget. But incoming Trump border czar Tom Homan says nothing will stop them.
So those people who say they're going to stop us from what they're doing, they will not. I'm going to do this job. Men and women of ICE are going to do this job. You're not going to stop us. But let me give you a word of advice. If you impede us, there's going to be consequences. You cannot help us.
Ah, yes. So is this what they call the tolerant left? Remind me, guys, who are they calling a cult again? But they should know who they're messing with. I think you guys would agree with me. Violence and intimidation, they're not going to work with this administration, right, guys? And the same with Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan. He's also one of the soon-to-be officials that are being targeted by these death threats. But the man says he's not going to be intimidated. Check this out.
I'm so sorry to hear that you and your family are going through this. What's your preliminary response to hearing that it's not unique to you? Other senior incoming officials are also facing threats today.
Well, first of all, I appreciate what Nicole just said, but I'll be honest with you, I have not taken it serious up to this point. Now that I know what's happening the last 24 hours, I will take it a little more serious. But look, I've been dealing with this when I was the ICE director in the first administration. I had numerous death threats. I had a security detail with me all the time. Even after I retired, the death threats continued. And even after I retired as ICE director, I had U.S. Marshals protection for a long time to protect me and my family. And what doesn't help is all the negative press around the president and people he's putting in his cabinet. Me, I'm not in the cabinet, but, I've read numerous hit pieces on me. I'm a racist and, I'm the father of family separation, all this other stuff. So the hate media doesn't help at all because there are some nuts out there that will take advantage. So that doesn't help. And I thought we're beyond that after the election's over, that we're going to get beyond that. But I will now start taking a little more serious after I just heard what's happened the last 24 hours. Up to that point, I was the attitude that if I'm not home, my family's not home. And they're not home right now, but when I return home, I'm going to bring them home. But I was up the attitude lately that if you want some, come get some. Because, I've been through this many, many times. And but again, what I've learned today, I'll start taking a little more serious.
So here we are, guys. Trump's officials are facing death threats and their families are having to take these threats more seriously. Meanwhile, Biden and his family are safe and sound spending Thanksgiving in Nantucket. But you know what else is happening in Nantucket? A vicious wave of migrant crime that's affecting the local residents, Americans who actually live there. Just hear it from this one father.
I actually live on Nantucket and I work here. I have my mortgage through the local bank here, my insurance through the local insurance company here. I know a lot of things go back to COVID, but when COVID hit, Nantucket became a place that people found as a sanctuary and came here because it was small. We were all close as a community and we did feel safe, but not anymore. As far as the recent ICE arrests are concerned, I'm very happy that ICE was here and was able to do their job and get rid of at least some of the bad people that are on the island. There's obviously many, many more. And as a community, it scares me. As a father, it truly scares me. And I would like to see more being done. My daughter goes to school, and after school, she goes over to the Boys and Girls Club. But, they walk there. It's not like they go right out of school and get on a bus and then are transported there. And the amount of kids, there's never enough chaperones or people that can really keep an eye on all of these kids. The schools are mostly Latino and other types of nationalities. Just a white person is a minority now in the school system. Well, our local paper comes out every Thursday, and the crime report or court report, whatever you would like to call it, is dramatically much larger in the past few years than what it used to be. There's always at least 15 to 20 different people that are in the court report. And those episodes stem anywhere from a lot of drunk driving, OUI arrests, but many home invasions, domestic abuse, drugs, obviously. We're not really sure where there is a safe place anymore.
So that man was Eric Evans, who has lived in Nantucket for 31 years and has an 8-year-old daughter in public schools. Now, like he said, you're not sure these days where there is a safe place anymore. I guess we can thank the Democrats and liberal mainstream media for this, huh? Even President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet nominees and other appointees are under siege. According to Trump-Vance transition spokeswoman and incoming White House press secretary Carolyn Leavitt, the attacks range from bomb threats to swatting, which is when domestic terrorists make prank phone calls so that police would send over a lot of officers to somebody's house. Yeah, apparently that's a thing now with these people. One of the officials used a statement describing this incident as having involved a pipe bomb threat with a pro-Palestinian themed message. The list of endangered officials just keeps getting longer too. Sources say that John Ratcliffe, the nominee to be CIA director, Pete Hegseth, the nominee for Secretary of Defense, and Representative Elise Stefanik, the nominee for UN ambassador, were among those targeted. Brooke Rollins, who Trump Trump has tapped to be Secretary of Agriculture, and Lee Zeldin, Trump's nominee to be EPA administrator, separately revealed they were also targeted. Leavitt confirmed in a press release that several of President Trump's cabinet nominees and administration appointees were targeted in violent, un-American threats to their lives and those who live with them. New York State Police said in a statement that they had to send members and canine units trained in explosive detection to sweep Stefanik's home in Saratoga, but did not locate any explosive devices. Now, this is no joke, guys. This was a serious deployment of police resources. Now, think about this for a second. It's no small task to bring in bomb-sniffing dogs for a high-stakes sweep. It shows the level of threat that these public figures are dealing with right now, and it's a part of a bigger story of a growing security threat and worries for Trump officials. This kind of intense scrutiny doesn't just stretch our resources, but it also creates this wave of fear and terror throughout the community, not to mention the risks in the political world that are just escalating with these kinds of threats. Leavitt said Trump and the transition team are focused on doing the work of uniting our nation by ensuring a safe and prosperous future. So we need to take care of them because, like Trump, dangerous acts of intimidation and violence will not deter us. A White House spokesperson said in a statement that President Joe Biden has been briefed on the situation. They said that they're in touch with federal law enforcement and the president-elect's team. They also said that the president and the administration unequivocally condemn threats of political violence. So why do they keep calling Trump and his supporters things like threats to democracy, Nazis, and garbage? It really puts into perspective where they stand on these threats to President-elect Trump and his officials, right? I mean, just think about it, guys. These threats come mere months after Trump survived 2 assassination attempts. Just days before Trump accepting the Republican nomination, Trump was shot at a rally on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. Just weeks later in September, another would-be assassin hid in the bushes at Trump's international golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida. The gunman had an AK-47 style rifle pointing through the fence toward Trump as the GOP nominee was golfing. But still, they refused to stop calling the president-elect a threat to democracy. Just drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you guys agree with what we're saying here, guys. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on our future updates. In spite of all of these threats to our national security, President Joe Biden remains aloof and tone deaf as he spent Thanksgiving with his family all safe and sound on Nantucket Island. For the past 3 years, the Bidens have stayed at a property owned by a private equity billionaire by the name of David Rubenstein that overlooks Nantucket Harbor. And their visits this year continue their 40-year tradition of spending the holiday on this Nantucket Island. You know what else Nantucket has been seeing these past few years? A whole lot of migrant crimes. You see, while Biden was off enjoying his Air Force One jet and his presidential motorcade, Nantucket residents have been hearing about illegal immigrants getting picked up by ICE officials. 5 migrants from Guatemala and El Salvador were picked up by ICE's enforcement and removal operations of Boston over a 48 period in September. And since August, the agency has arrested at least 8 illegal immigrants accused of various criminal charges on Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. On September 10th, 28-year-old Salvadorian migrant Brian Daniel Aldana Arevalo was charged with 1 count of child blank with a 10-year age difference and 2 counts of indecent assault and battery on a child under the age of blank. Now that day, Aldana Arevalo was quietly taken into the mainlands in handcuffs via ferry. Together with him was Elmer Sola, another Salvadorian migrant charged with 11 counts of crimes against children, which officials have confirmed took place on Nantucket. Shortly after that, on September 11th, agents returned to Nantucket to arrest illegal Brazilian migrant Gian Amaral Balafronte and Guatemalan illegal immigrant Felix Alberto Perez Gomez. Both had committed crimes against Nantucket residents. And get this, guys, Belafonte left after the alleged assault took place in 2021, but he re-entered the country illegally and was picked up on an arrest warrant in March. Another one was taken into custody on the island was reputed MS-13 gang member Angel Gabriel Diaz Mija of El Salvador on September 12th. Diaz Mija was arrested at the Discovery Playground on Old South Road in July. Nantucket police wrote that he was drunk and cursing, flaring his arms, yelling loudly and distracting all civilians who were at the scene, and left their children at the crime scene. All of this recent news Biden seemingly ignored as he spent his vacation on the same island. Yeah, I definitely cannot wait until the adults are back in charge. I mean, just look at what some Democrats are planning in New York. So New York state legislators have hinted at using unusual tactics to combat the incoming Trump administration, including holding back federal taxes and leaving the United States to join Canada. Yeah, I really wish I was kidding you guys, but these are true facts. Democratic State Senator Liz Krueger, she proposed the ideas as state Democrats only have weeks to counter President-elect Donald Trump before he takes office. She called the ideas thinking outside the box. The blocking of federal income tax comes after Trump's border czar Tom Homan said that he will block federal funding for states that don't cooperate. And it looks like Krueger is planning to not cooperate, as she talked about the possible $85 billion hole that this could bring to the Empire State. She said that they're talking money that they couldn't possibly replace unless they started sending the feds a lot less money. Now, apart from that, Krueger has proposed that New York should join Canada back in September, before Trump claimed his landslide win with the White House. More specifically, she proposed leaving with Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Vermont. She said instead of us all trying to illegally cross the border at night without them noticing, that they should instead agree to let us be the Southeast province, a new province of Canada. She justified the idea by basically saying everyone in these states are progressive Democrats and that they would all fit in pretty well with the political philosophy of at least most of the Canadian elected officials. But that's where she's wrong, guys. A whopping 43% of voters in New York voted for Trump in the 2024 election. Meanwhile, the other 3 states all garnered at least 30% of the vote for the president-elect. So yeah, yet another liberal just outright denying or blatantly lying about the facts to fit their agenda, all while ignoring the very real needs of their constituents. Does this sound familiar to you guys? Yeah, because that's what they've been doing to us for at least the last 4 years. And frankly, the people have had enough of it. I wish they would move up Trump's inauguration already, right? What do you guys think about that? Are you guys already raring for a Trump administration to begin? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below, guys. Let me know your thoughts. We can definitely pick this up in a future video update. Just make sure you're always subscribed to the channel and have your notifications turned on. And while you guys are waiting on the next one, you can take some time to check out our other content on the channel. And I just uploaded another one where Biden attacks a reporter for asking him a pretty innocent question. You're not gonna believe this, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for hitting the like button and subscribing. Check out this video here coming up next, or our playlist down below, and we'll see you guys on the next one.